On this episode, hey, it's the middle of summer and people are out there buying houses like it's the last day on earth. Literally, buyers are out there like crazy, and sellers right now is a great opportunity for you to be able to sell your house for top dollar. Nonetheless, on this episode, we are going to be talking about pricing your house to sell and what it looks like selling your house in a seller's market. Coming up. Welcome, I'm your host, Steve Penate, realtor and host of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show, where we bring you value, content, and tips in all things real estate and housing related. Hey, before we continue on with this incredible episode, I want to invite you to hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and share this video with someone you feel needs to hear this information. All right, so we are officially in the summer of 2020, and in so many ways, our country is in a very interesting place. Nonetheless, the real estate market is booming, especially in the states I personally work with, which is Texas and Arizona. We are seeing buyers out there house hunting like crazy. As a matter of fact, so many price ranges are experiencing multiple offers literally within days of the house hitting the market. And so right now there are a lot of people that are possibly contemplating putting their house on the market to sell. Now, one thing to note is that we are still experiencing an extremely low inventory market. Like, for real, sellers need to come out of the woodworks and put their house on the market because buyer demand is extremely hot, extremely strong right now. And to be honest with you guys, there isn't enough houses on the market to sustain the amount of buyers that are coming in to the market to buy a house. Interest rates are still at historically low levels, and people are out there shopping even in the midst of everything happening in our nation. And every statistic we are seeing is not indicating that this is going to slow down anytime soon. So with that said, you might be a seller, someone who owns a house, and are contemplating about putting your house on the market. Now, I want to talk to you. If you are a seller, I am going to give you some tips to get your house sold, because even in a seller's market, not every house sells, okay? Even though there's low inventory, even though it's a hot market, there are still some things you as a seller have to pay attention to when you put your house on the market. So with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so you're about to put your house on the market, and here are 3 important things you need to really pay attention to, okay? Number 1 is price your house correctly. Now, so many people think that just because it's a seller's market, you can overprice your house. That is not the case. There's a difference between pricing your house aggressively and being able to push the market further up versus flat out overpricing your house, okay? If the comparables are not there, don't price your house 15, 20 grand above what your neighbor's house just sold for, okay? The market is moving fast, but it's not moving that fast, okay? You need to be wise about what your house is actually worth putting on the market for it to move, okay? There are price ranges where if your house is priced aggressively, it's still going to receive multiple offers and pushing your house even higher than what you thought you were going to get. But don't force it. Let the market drive it. Okay, what happens when you force a price, you end up overpricing your house. Let the market drive it. Have your real estate agent be very strategic at what price point they can drive the market, knowing that the buyer response will be met on the other side. Overpricing your house. It doesn't matter how hot the market is and how amazing your house is going to sit, and you will eventually have to keep on lowering the price. And honestly, it just never looks good doing that. Price it well up front and it's going to sell. Number 2, understand how comparables work. It's very important that you understand, okay, that just because your neighbor's house sold for a certain price does not mean that your house is going to sell for the exact same price or even more, okay? Make sure your real estate agent walks you through what an actual comparable is when it comes to selling a house. I actually, earlier this week, spoke with a client of mine who called me up, wants to sell his house, and was telling me, hey, houses in my neighborhood are going for $290, and on the high end, even $300,000. So I tell him, awesome, great. Let me look at the comparables. And when I go and look at the comparables of where his house is, well, it turns out all those houses he was looking at that were selling in his neighborhood were literally from 300 upwards to 600 square feet bigger than his house. The houses he was looking at weren't comparables to his house. And so I had to give him the hard facts that the houses he was looking at weren't comparable to his house. You have to understand this, okay? That as a real estate agent, we want to sell your house for top dollar. We want that. The last thing we want to do is for you to make less. Our goal is to maximize your profits. But at the same time, it's very important that you trust your real estate agent when it comes to the comparables they're showing you. What ends up happening so many times is this: as a seller, our emotions get in the way of reality. Okay, there's something I personally call emotional value. As a seller, you need to manage that. Okay, because your emotions are going to want to overprice your house. And if you watched point 1, what ends up happening is this: because of our emotional value and wanting to overprice our house, the house is not going to sell. Understand comparables and price your house well. And finally, number 3, even though we have very low inventory, even though buyers are out there buying houses like hotcakes, it's very important to understand the houses that are selling like hotcakes are those that are move-in ready. Okay? Houses that need work, you have to pay attention to point number 1 and 2, the comparables. Okay? If your house is going to need a little bit of work, don't think you can, sell for top dollar in your neighborhood knowing that your house needs some TLC. Okay? Be realistic with yourself. It's very hard whenever your emotions get in the way with what your real estate agent is presenting you on paper. Okay, make sure that your real estate agent is honest, first of all, and is very knowledgeable about the real estate market and what's going on in your neighborhood. But at the same time, you have to understand that the houses that are moving a lot faster are those that are move-in ready homes. If it wows people, it's probably going to sell pretty fast. So understand that if your house needs a little bit of TLC, you have to price it accordingly. Don't expect for it to sell at the highest price point in the neighborhood. It might be that you might have to price it a little bit less just to get the sale. At the end of the day, it's probably still selling for top dollar in the sense that it was priced well for what the product is. Well, that wraps up episode 122 of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show. I hope this information brought some clarity to you as a seller selling in a seller's market. Keep sending in your questions, and I will do my best to keep on answering them. We'll see you next time.